So we want to find the average. We would do a table here. Sorry?
Too fast.
Yeah.
I said you don't have to do this in Excel. I'm just showing the exact same thing within Power BI. Yeah.
Just enjoy.
Yes, so we would put something like decade, name, month, that. Actually, yeah, you would have to struggle with it. I keep forgetting it. But anyways, there are sometimes tables that have 100 of those columns, which we actually want to have together as a type or store or product, etc. So what you want to do is to unpivot it. So again, in Excel you would probably do this like one, fill down, then that, etc. in order to analyze it. Me, then copy these things. So this is what we want to get in the end. Yeah, who? Rating. So it takes quite a long time. Imagine if it was 100 columns. And very often in real environment there are cases like that. So here comes the beautiful unpivot function. Let's select the first two columns using Shift. And in our transform tab, which is the second one, unpivot columns, don't click on this one, click on the drop down. So basically what unpivot does is all the columns that we didn't select, if we click other columns, it snaps them into rows. So it would be mom score in blue, dad score, etc. Exactly what we did just now in Excel. So if we click on pivot other columns, sort of transposes it and creates a row entry for each of those values we had in our table. Let's rename this one to person and this one to rating. So we selected the first two columns, went to unpivot other columns, got this, renamed the columns. We have now decade, name, person, and rating. But in our IMDb data, we have just the decade, name, and rating. So we need to find somehow the average of these. Pretty easy to do in Excel. We make a pivot table, don't use the person, and just average the result in the values field. So we can also replicate pivot behavior in Power Query, in Query Editor Power BI. So we select the first two columns. In the same tab, we have this group by. So group by pretty much stands for pivot. You put something into rows, and then some sort of aggregation into values. So if we click group by, it's not the usual, how to say, interface for creating a pivot table. Usually fields here, then 4 squares here, but this is where you can, a nice, understandable way also figure this out. So we want to group by decade and name, and then average of the scores. So we have decade and name. We can add some more if we want. And then we need this new column, which will have the average. Let's name it the same way, rating. And exactly like in the pivot table, choose what we want to do with it. Since everybody of the three people is equal in their voting rights and opinions, let's use average of rating. So group by decade and name, column name rating, we make average rating. Check. So already looks like something that we can put together with the IMDb thing. Decade, name, and the number. The beautiful thing is that even if you have a new person in your family who starts rating movies, you have a fourth column and a brother, it will still work. Because what we will do is snap those into rows, take the decade and name and find the average. Doesn't matter, 150 people in your family, which is also very, very convenient. So now we are kind of done with this, and so we have this table 0. On the left you can jump between the queries that we're creating. Let's rename table 0 to movies. So this one is from IMDb, name, rating, and decade. and this one is from our Excel. Let's make it in the same order, also for convenience reasons. Name, decade, name, rating, and decade. So you can also reorder columns here just by dragging and dropping them where you want them. So we need to move decade to the end. We just press on it, left button, and let it go in the end. So now we have two queries. Yeah? So where are we in the agenda? So we have seen this in the previous one. Now we used filling down, same way you can fill up. We used grouping. When we find the average, we used unpivoting to snap the columns into the rows. And the last one, very, very useful. Sometimes you have, I don't know, a million rows in one Excel, a million rows in another Excel. You cannot really put them together anywhere. But here, since Power BI engine allows to work with millions of rows of data, you can just append them to each other and use them as a 2 million row database. So we don't have 2 million rows, but we still can append together the IMDb and the family queries. How to do it? We go back to Query Editor, select Movies. So what we want to do is just here on the bottom add the newly created family query. You can find it in Home button, Home tab. The first one where we had remove columns, replace values, etc. under the Combine sub-tab. I'll not go into the details of what merge means. Those who work with SQL and joining tables probably familiar with this, but the simplest version of it is just append. Basically, you have the top table and the bottom table. You can have 5, 10 of them, and you put them together. So we select append queries. We have just two tables. The first one is movies, the one we are currently looking at, and then there is family, so we want to append it on the bottom. We select it and click OK. So quite seamlessly, we just got another step, embedded query. It went all the way to the family table and just put it on the bottom. And if you check the technical reference for it, as far as I remember, you need to have the columns in the same order. So it puts the first one next to first, second next to second, third next to third, etc. It doesn't move by names. That's another tricky thing, that if we had decade, name, and rating, we would get the wrong result. So we have everything we need. We can look together at the movies that we rated and the people rated on IMDb. So we can click Close and Apply.
There's an extra step that asks us about the
Privacy settings.
settings. Yeah. So explain the privacy settings.
The privacy settings. Yeah, basically depending on the source of data, it might ask you for privacy settings. I'm not sure where you're getting this in this case.
Because
it's a web source.
And a local source.
Yeah. So you have one source on your computer, another one is in the web. So I guess you can choose public for the web one. It has a free public organization and private. Yeah. So choose the public one. I don't think I can and will explain. What later on depends on those settings. But it's very depending on specific cases. You have databases, authorizations, and things like that. In our case, it's quite simple. So what we can see on the left now is the two tables. Yeah, so these are the final products of the things that we were doing, the end state, which is 3 columns. We have the family still hanging here. There is a way to not show it. And we'll be working with movies, because we had movies, then we appended the family, and this is our full table. So another functionality that is here is that you can hide tables. Sometimes you get too many of them. So for the users that will want to explore the data, you want to hide certain tables. So it's very simple. You just right click in this view. Yeah, we are this first report view. Right click and select hide. Yeah, so it didn't disappear. It's still calculating, it's refreshing, etc. But it's not visible for the end user. In the same way, you can view hidden. Yeah, it will be grayed out. But it's not hidden. Okay. Is there anybody who didn't get that final table with IMDb and? Okay. There is a YouTube video on the same thing, so watch it as well. Try to come. Yeah, so the next thing is that let's explore our data. So actually answer our question. In which decade, on average, the best movies were made, according to public opinion. This is where we get to the next part, formatting. Yeah, so I will show different visualization types, how to change the colors, the axes, the font sizes, etc. I will not show each of the functionalities because it's quite simple. It's like working with paint, you just change colors, font sizes, etc. It's not very much Power BI specific. But the important ones will be editing interactions. Since it's an interactive data exploration tool, things will depend on each other, so I will show how to control it. Going back to Power BI, we have this movies table on the left. So you have this blank canvas, just white sheet of paper in the middle, and in order to create something, the simplest way is just to drag one of the fields and drop it on the canvas. So we click decade, drop it here. So the standard visualization type is a table for text, precisely. Very good point. In our case, it's text. If it was a number, it would be most likely column chart with total. So another thing we want to see is, of course, rating. So again, there is a number of ways to do it. One of the ways is to just tick this button. So here you can see the type of the data type of the column that you're using. In this case, it has a capital sigma sign, which means that it's a number. So you can summarize those things. If we had rating as text, it would not summarize it, at least in the default scenario. So now we have a list of decades with the ratings next to them, though this is not exactly what we need. Yeah, 49, 294, though we know that it was from 1 to 10. So we want to change the aggregation type. The default aggregation type for numbers is sum. So let's see how to change it. Here in the fields pane, you can see this little triangle, drop down. If you click on it, you can select average. So again, this is the same as you would have a pivot table with decades in rows and average of ratings in the values. Since we want something prettier, I guess, let's change it to a column chart. So if you have one of the visuals, those little squares, selected on your canvas, you can just click on a visualization type over there, and it will change. So if you click on the second one, which is a stacked column chart, it will turn into columns. We cannot really see big differences between them. Neither we can see the average ratings somewhere here, which would probably be nice to see. So this is where we need the formatting, and the formatting happens in this brush tab. So if one of the visuals is selected, you see 3 tabs. The standard one, the fields pane, the formatting, and then analytics. I will not touch upon this one today. So if you click on formatting, there's quite a number of things we need. So what do we want to do here? We probably want to limit this y-axis from, let's say, 7 to 9. Maybe you want to change the color to something that looks like Power BI color, I guess. So we click on y-axis, and there is a variety of settings, but what we need is a start and end numbers. Let's have 7 and 9. Another thing we wanted to see is the labels on each of the columns. So right here, there's a simple off and on button. We just click on it. We see the data labels. There are a lot of customizable settings for it, such as size, for example. So then the colors. We click on data colors. Basically, this is a very simple one where you just select the default color. However, if you had a more complicated chart with a legend, different types, etc., you can customize it for each of those separately. So let's change it to, it doesn't look pretty, this yellow one, and we already have a nice visual. Then you don't have to do all of this. We can also add title, best movies, and do something, let's say. Yeah, so this is one way to format it. There's a whole variety of visuals that are available. The standard ones: column charts, bar charts, area charts, scatter plots, maps, etc. I will tell a bit more about custom visuals, which are not on the standard set by the end of this. So another important thing is the interaction between visuals. So let's again pull decade to the canvas. Convert it to a bar chart, this is the third one. Add rating. No, actually, let's pull name over here. So, what if we put a text field into a values space? Most probably it's going to count them. So let's say, well, we also want to see how many movies actually were made in that decade. So we take the name and pull it to values. You will see this orange border when you're putting it in the right place. And so it's count of name. Similarly to the aggregation types for numerical values, we see here a couple of options, which is count and count distinct. In our case, there's no difference, but let's say you had two movies with the same name for whatever reason in the same decade, then basically you're choosing count it twice or count it once. So let's add also labels. So we can see that the biggest quantity of movies was made in the 2000s that are in the top 250 list. And this I will use to show how cross-filtering works. As I said, this is for interactive data exploration, so when we click on one thing, the other thing will change as well. Let's say we click on the 2000s. Yeah, so if you just click on it, the other charts get automatically filtered to that, to only thousands. We could of course have like movie theme, is it a thriller, is it drama, etc., and then filter that way, and you would see for each decade the rating of those kinds of movies. So there is a million of ways you can use this interaction between the charts, and the way to control it is under the format pane when you clicked on something with edit interactions. So basically it just turns on the editing mode for interactions. The only difference on the canvas is that you can see these types, filtering interaction types next to each of the visuals. So let's say we want to turn it off. We click on this off button. This means that the selected visual, once interacted with, clicked or something selected, etc., it will not affect our first chart. So we exit the interaction mode, and now if we select the 2000s, nothing will happen to the first one. This is very important in case you build dashboards and there is some number that you actually don't want to change, just a static and total sales for the year, or just current year, anything else that you don't want to be affected by the user interacting with other things. So we just turned off this interaction. And once you have a lot of different visuals and charts on your report, you really want to set how things control each other so that they make sense. Yep. Another thing is Format Painter, which is quite a nice feature. You can find it under Home. Just like in Word, Outlook, Excel, etc., you can click on Format Painter and apply it to the other chart. So what we will do is apply the same title, color, data label, and many other settings to the other chart. So this way you can make sure all of your things look similar or the same. From recently, there is also this themes button. You can make something with your corporate theme from recent versions, which is nice. And the last thing is the Z order. Why Z order? Is because we have X, Y, and then Z goes like this. So like you probably do in PowerPoint, maybe you want this thing to be behind the other one. This is also very easy to find under Format tab, send backward, so it will be behind. Probably you don't want charts overlapping, but if you add some backgrounds, rectangles, and things like that, you can use this very well, especially with transparency and etc. That's about formatting. So we have seen all of these. Next one is interaction. I already showed you how charts cross-filter each other. Now I will show how the filter pane works, and then the great feature called drill down. What was it? Yeah. So let's keep this thing here. If you just click on the white, yeah, not anything selected, you can see this filter pane here, which has two types: page level filters and report level filters. If you have specific visuals selected, there are three types: visual level filters, page, and report. We'll not dig down too deep into these, but basically you can pull, let's say, decade to page level filters, and just here select one or two of these. So in order to avoid taking space with different slicers and filters in your report area, you probably want to already pre-filter some things if you know that the user doesn't need that data or you don't need that data. So you can do it for page level, which means one page, sort of a sheet in Excel. Report level, which means the whole file, or visual level, which means one of our charts. And the same way you can get rid of it. Then focus mode, very simple. You can just find this little button on top of each visual. If you click it, it opens it full screen. It doesn't mean you're changing the layout, it's just the mode, which means you're zoomed in, and the same way you can zoom out, and everything is still the same. Do you have nice yellow charts also? Maybe not necessarily yellow. Okay. Anybody as of now who is behind? Okay. I think we can go on. Next one is drill down. One of the most exciting features which people are happy in Power BI is the drill down function. Well, let's say we concluded that the best movies were on average made in the 70s, but you want to see which exactly movies those are and what are their ratings. So how you would do it in Excel, which most of you I guess are familiar with, is you would create a pivot table, put two things in the rows, yeah, decade, movie, and using the pluses and minuses, expand and collapse, you would drill deeper. Or what if you have a chart? Yeah, there is a way to do it in Excel, but here it's very convenient and user-friendly. So what we will do is take the name from the field pane and just pull it below decade on our axis. So to make sure it's the right place you're putting it to, it is this orange line appearing. So we just drop it. Nothing changed on the visual, yeah, because we just added another layer deeper somewhere there behind the decade. Do it. Okay. We have to pause the input.